Hey, welcome to Real Estate Fanatics and another video. Today we want to target transaction coordinators. Should you be using one? Why would you use one? What should you be looking for in values and packages and costs? Should you desire to go down that road and use one? Stay tuned for more on that. But before we begin, hey, if you want to talk to me about anything, I've always got my Calendly link down below. Schedule time with me. Happy to chat. Enjoy talking real estate. I don't know everything. I know quite a bit. However, just look us up, connect us on that, and we'll be happy to sit down and talk and have a conversation with you. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and like our videos, please. So, transaction coordinators, what are they, right? What do they do? So here's my point. If you third party out a transaction coordinator, they usually provide an a la carte menu. Like, hey, we will do these contractual obligations. A lot of times it may be coordinating photos, maybe coordinating inspections. It's definitely keeping your contracts tidied up. It may be compliance with your company. It may be communicating with your clients, not necessarily negotiating on your behalf or anything like that. Maybe just keeping your documents in order, keeping in front of your dates and deadlines. Very valuable. I think the question is, when do you get one? When do you use them? The other thing that you should look at too, or could look at, is some of the larger teams actually hire, like as a W-2, an employee, and there's some benefits to that as well. And some of those benefits, once you get to larger levels of production, is, yeah, the negatives are you got to manage them, right? You've got to run payroll, right? You got to pay employment taxes, things like that, versus a third-party 1099. Yet the pros could be you control, their performance a little bit better. They work for you. You also will be able to use them in maybe slow times to take on additional projects that a 1099 third-party contractor is going to be like, yeah, it's not part of our services. There's a lot of pros and cons to each of those models. However, I will throw a shout out, shameless plug. I mean, we have thrivetc.com. We do have a third-party company that we run and I own with Brooke Langston as well. So check us out at thrivetc.com. We are in 6 or 8 states right now and continuing to grow into other areas. So look us up, thrivetc.com. So with that being said, for us and the transaction coordinator services, you really want to look at what they offer, what's their experience. Personally, I don't mind if they're in-state or out-of-state as long as they know the contracts and they can exhibit good customer service, because again, they are interfacing a lot with our clients. You really want somebody that's knowledgeable and has good customer service skills, right? If they are not people-oriented people, probably not going to leave your clients a little bit ruffled or a little bit distaste in their mouths of your service, because again, the people you bring into their world still reflect on you. So I would definitely interview TC companies. When I first got started, I would say getting those first 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 deals plus probably makes sense that you do those on your own. So that way, as an agent, you learn the contracts, you learn the compliance process, you learn all those different things. So I think it's a good lesson to practice those things on your first few deals, so you at least know, because that way if a TC ever leaves or you hire one and it doesn't work out, whatever the case is, you can jump back in and take over the contracts as you need to. So for us, again, we have combinations of both. We run like a 200 unit team, so we have 1 or 2 transaction coordinators hired on staff. We have a third-party TC company that we provide out to other real estate agents, and it may not make sense that they hire somebody on full-time. So really looking at what are their values. So feel free to look at our thrivetc.com, and you can look at any of those on the website and see, what our offerings are, what you can kind of compare those to others in your area. A lot of times what you'll see with TCs, and what I'm seeing more and more, is a value-driven environment by some of the brokerages. So I know like EXP, some of the KW market centers, I think Remaxes, some of those companies are already providing like in-house TCs as part of their agent support package. Some may charge, some may not, right? It's just a matter of each model's different with the brokerage. But the key is, I've seen a lot of times when it's large bulk order or a lot of agents like in a market center or at an office are using the TC, they can kind of get drowned out, and maybe they're overwhelmed and they're not providing the best customer support, or they minimize their services a little bit. So we're going to be in control of that on the Thrive TC side of things, and that we're going to make sure that clients come first no matter what, and we're never going to overload our coordinators, because we want to make sure that we know that we reflect your business, and we want to make sure that your clients know that you've chosen us because of our expertise and because of our customer service. So transaction coordinators, I find, are very, very, very valuable because we want to put our time and energy into what I call the high dollar work. It's not that the contracts aren't important. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I need to be out there lead generating. I need to be finding business. I don't need to be uploading, downloading files into the compliance area. I don't need to be T's and C's of like, I mean, yes, I need to be the T and C's of the whole contracts, but I can have somebody else make sure that we got all the boxes checked and everything is good to go. I don't need to be scheduling photography. I don't need to be scheduling inspections. Like I can have an assistant do that, right? Which would be my transaction coordinator. So I'm guaranteeing they can probably take 25% or more off of your workload just by taking on some of those tasks for you. Now, again, if you're using a third party, you need to see what it is in their contract of services that they provide. I will tell you from our team perspective, they do the photos, they coordinate with the seller getting it on the MLS, like listing management stuff. They coordinate the inspections. They do compliance. They coordinate the appraiser coming out. They're checking lending. They're checking dates and deadlines with our clients and our agents. They just provide a plethora of stuff. Like basically, it's kind of foolproof, if you will, for our agents because they can lean on the transaction coordinators to pretty well keep them informed of everything going on. Yes, the agent is licensed, and yes, the agent has to do the license negotiations, has the license conversations. However, the transaction coordinators can be the ones behind the scenes helping the agents out and going from there. So anyways, I think it's a huge value. You see my method, right? Our last video, or one of our previous videos, was on virtual assistants. You can see how we leverage things out like social media there. Transaction coordinators, ties together with giving you some more leverage. Yes, it's going to come at a cost, and yes, salaries are one of the biggest hits against your profit margins, if you will, but you just have to balance that out in your profit and loss sheet. If you can go get more business and you currently have profit and can afford a transaction coordinator, hire one full time. If not, most transaction third-party companies charge somewhere between $300 and $500, depending on where you're at. Every state's going to look a little bit different. I think our company is $399. We're kind of right in the middle of all that. Anyways, look us up. I would rather spend $400 on a transaction, honestly, and save myself. Like, look at it, right? I talked about that in an earlier video. What is your hours worth, right? Calculate what your gross revenue was, divide that out by the number of hours in a year that you work, and then figure it out. If you're at like $200 or $100 an hour, I promise you'll spend more than 4 hours doing transaction coordinator work. So let's hire that out or contract that out so we can put that time back into going and getting more business. So you'll see my methodology is career and work-life balance. We talked about that. We talked about virtual assistants helping with that. We talked about in another video, and then obviously today we're talking about transaction coordination. Now, you can't hire all these services out, and one thing that I did fail to mention is, look, don't put anybody on salary if your business isn't consistent. That doesn't make sense. I would rather pay that out to a third party because now I'm only paying that out at such point in time that I have something under contract and it's going to get to closing. I don't want to hire somebody right off the bat knowing I have no closings because I pretty well have to guarantee to pay somebody every single week whether I have business or not. So a lot of people will use the third-party model, but at some juncture moving forward, if you're doing 100 deals and you're paying out $399, it might be more beneficial for you to take that in-house and pay them, a salary. Anyways, some people will say, can you do that with virtual assistants? I'm going to leave that up to your opinion. Some say they enjoy it. Others say they'd rather keep that in-house in the U.S. I don't really have a position on that one way or the other. Anyways, cool. Awesome. Hope you enjoyed that video on transaction coordinators. Click below for subscribing to our channel. Here's my Calendly link. Happy to connect with you and share any other information we have on virtual assistant, transaction coordinators, job descriptions, any of that stuff. Comment down below. And until next time, see ya.